But luckily for us, our next reading uses only one microphone. And okay, who here remembers last year's ContraDiction when we had a certain reader by the name of J. Bernard? Yes. I know. And it was like, yeah, I mean, okay, I've been teaching at NTU, so I have a bit of NTU pride, and I was like, but it did rather peeve me that, for when we had our first international rises of residents, NTU and NUS both had them. NTU chose, an old straight white man, and NUS chose a young black lesbian woman. This year, it turns out that the new NUS writer in residence is a queer, let's see, half communist Sri Lankan, not communist Sri Lankan, half Sri Lankan, half English lady. Yeah, also young. By the name of Jasmine Ann Cooray. And when I first heard she was coming, I didn't know she was queer. I just decided, she's Facebook friends with Jay Bernard, so she's probably hip. And I messaged her, and she was very hip. So I'd like you to warmly welcome to this country, Miss Jasmine Ann Cooray. Jasmine?
Time for me to be discussing my family tree with you. I usually have to do some kind of freakishly tall person height adjustment of mics. I get a lot of this in Singapore. Very taller. I'm not sure how to reintroduce myself after that. I feel like some reintroducing needs to happen. I also feel, I don't know, you'll hear some about my father in some of the poems, but I was kind of thinking my poems aren't really gay enough for today. But actually then I was thinking, no, but then you can say this really deep thing about how they are all about, humanity and, basic humanity, and that's something that we're not all granted as queer people. But then I thought, just shut up and do the poems. So I'll do that. So make some noise if you have ever had to answer a really stupid question. So for my sins, past, present and future, I have worked in many coffee shops. Make some noise if you ever worked in a bar or a coffee shop. Yes, very stupid people, yes. And there's this woman that came to the counter and she asked me a really stupid question. This kind of poem came out of that, and it's called True Colours. You ask for English tea. Emphasis, English. I can't help but laugh. Even though my childhood dinner plate held both baked potatoes and lime pickle, my record still skips at the thought of a handlebar moustache and cream linens, barking orders at men and women who hold a human chain of my genetics, somewhere in my heart's peripheral vision. The weight of your two syllables baps the rewound sequence of vans, packing factories, ships, back to bow back, split by whip. Outside, football fans paint their faces with St. George's flags, and as they stumble through tourists pouring coins at the feet of an elderly rich lady, in pastels I feel my cheeks burn. Though I am the kind of latte brown that sits tepid in most company. The shouts of England and your manicure's imperious drum on the countertop boil me. Steep me in something older than this moment. My waters flush, bleed through innocuous gauze. The ancient taste of my true colours awaits in my blood. Thank you. Yes, I am actually half of the NUS and Arts House Writers in Residence, and the other one is called Danko, and he's here. Round of applause for Danko. I don't know, we were just discussing just now if they chose us for like our otherness. I don't know. Sometimes that happens though. Probably. So let's get some young hip quiz. Yeah, let's do that. This poem is about being a student. I'm actually a student for the second time round now. I'm training to be a psychotherapist. And the people on my course are largely, how can I say this without being judgmental? Don't seem to appreciate the fact that they're able to study, should we put it like that. So this poem is called Reading List, and it's about that. My classmate moans. This term's reading does not fly into our laps as origami handouts, chucking quotes into our ears, perched on our shoulders as we scan the gradually blurring shapes. We have to find our books ourselves. I think of my father. The stepping stones of his spine bent over battered texts by candlelight, his pencil gripping paper as if it was a handhold on some steep cliff face, sweating to avoid spraying red the rocks of my grandfather's disbelief. I think of a girl with a rag shirt and cracked heels, lugging water from a well in the black, racing searing dawn to the cool hut where the musk of her brother's chalk wets her heart with the shapes she will never be allowed to trace in the dirt. So forgive me if I don't harmonize with the lament of your minor key. I cannot forget the weight of this list, its rare and graceful lighting, and the luck I have been dealt to always be so full of belly that I must, for the sake of space, turn my attention to the steady and hungry gorge of my brain. Thank you. Okay. So before I do this, I want to thank Yi-Sheng and Jasmine, and yeah, you've all been amazing, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I hope to see you all again at other various events. So I used to write really ranting poetry, and then I stopped writing such ranting poetry, and then recently I kind of moved more back into it. Maybe because I was kind of stopped being sad and started being angry again. Who was that? Got a whooping angry angel and a thumbs up. What else do you need to know? Yeah, so I was doing this event as part of this thing called the Wilding Festival, which was a kind of feminist event in London, and I decided to write something for it. Ideally, I would not have the paper, but it's fairly new, so it's called The Essentials. They gave me a shopping voucher for war. I can get a slap of bronze blush at each cheekbone, a red pout. I'll need eyes, dark and deep, smudged into a feline purr, lashes like a spider's burial ground. I will need ballerina posture, a walk like a panther on heat, cellophane skin that does not give way to hair or sweat. I'll need a plastic surgeon to plump my curves to that of a Brazilian transsexual. I'll need a signed copy of Always Reproductively Viable by Mother Nature. I will need this not signed in menstrual blood, please. Because menstrual blood does not exist. I will also buy Mother Nature a new wardrobe and get her out of those hemp cargo pants. I will need my clothes to signpost me public property, a toy for a phone booth quickie, activated by wolf whistle. I will need sickly, lavender-scented vaginal spray. I will need a muzzle, a Valium for compliance, a penchant for occasional but inclusive lesbianism, I will need to forget who I am, what I want, what I can bring to this world in cerebral, spirited, bombastic fireworks. I don't want this. I don't want accessories for a war against myself. This is not the kind of fighting any of us should still be doing. Thank you very much.